What's happening YouTube, Suraj here, and today I have for you guys a slightly more nerdy video. We're talking about a slightly more niche subject. We're talking about the Data Color Spyder 5 Pro Monitor Calibrator. Let's see if that'll focus. Now, if you're like me, if you've been editing pictures, if you're obsessed with colors, if you're a nerd like me and you're obsessed with colors, there's a good chance you know about this thing already. But for those of you that are not familiar with monitor calibrators, essentially what they do is it has two sensors and it sits on top of your monitor, and using the software that the company makes, it communicates with the software and it calibrates the colors and brightness levels of your monitor to what it thinks are the most accurate levels of brightness and colors for your particular monitor. Now, why do you need this? Well, the thing with consumer grade monitors is that when you first buy them or when they're first shipped to you out of the box, they're going to be way more contrasty, they're going to be super punchy, they're going to be extra saturated, the image is not going to be accurate, and this is fine because that's how the average consumer likes their image. They want it to be more exaggerated, more punchy, all of that. So it's fine if you're only consuming content, if you're only watching or watching videos and all of that, it's okay. However, if you're going to be on the other side, if you're going to be creating content, if you're going to be editing photographs, if you're going to be dealing with color sensitive work, you want to make sure you have as neutral a starting point as possible, so that when you bake in your own colors, when you add your own color grade, the image doesn't look out of place and it looks the way it's actually supposed to look. Now, the thing with these calibrators, firstly, this is not mine, this is the Spyder 5 Pro. It belongs to Sahit. Shout out to Sahit for letting me borrow it. He's an incredible filmmaker, somebody I really look up to. Go check out his work, I'll link it below. Basically, the thing with these monitor calibrators, this is the Spyder 5 Pro. They make a Spyder X now, they don't sell this anymore, but regardless of which variant you decide to go with, they'll all cost you roughly in the 15 to 20k price range. And personally, I don't know if they're worth it. I've always been interested in trying these out, but I've never been 100% certain that they're worth it, because I don't know how different it's going to be compared to something like adjusting the brightness or contrast levels on my own using the inbuilt monitor tools. My only argument that I can think of in response to that is that people are buying this thing, so it probably means that it works. But that's not a good enough argument. So in this video, I want to try out the calibrator. I want to see how big of a difference it actually makes for you to even consider purchasing it, if you should consider purchasing it. These are questions I want to answer for myself, and hopefully this video will also be helpful to some of you who may have similar questions. We're going to try it out on my LG monitor, which is a 21:9 25-inch IPS LCD monitor. It's the LG 25UM58P. Yes, I memorized the model number. From my understanding, IPS monitors are not that color accurate. VA panels are a little more color accurate. So my LG monitor should actually be a good monitor to try this out on, because it's not horrible, but it's not incredible or anything. So if it can make that look better or more accurate, then it should be able to do it, at least in theory. It should be able to work on any monitor. Funny thing is, my monitor itself is like 15-16K, whereas this, as I said, is also like 15-16K, which is exactly my point. I don't know if these are worth spending so much, because you can get an actual monitor for the price of this thing. Anyway, enough of rambling. Let's do some tests. Let's see how it actually works. If it works well, I'll also try it out on my MacBook display. This is a bit far-fetched, but if I can make the two displays look exactly the same, that would be insane. That would be really good. That would really help with my workflow. The first step is to download their software, which is available for free on their website. Once downloaded, you open the app and go through a checklist which they provide. They ask you to do a few basic things to make sure your monitor is up and running and ready to be calibrated. This includes things like leaving the monitor on for some time, resetting to default settings, and so on. Once that is done, it asks you to place the Spyder on your monitor using the counterweight which is provided. From here, you just hit start and it does a bunch of things like flashing the screen a few times and other things that imbeciles like me cannot understand. But there's not much that the user has to do, and it only takes about 10 minutes to finish. Okay, the calibration is complete, and first impressions, it looks very warm and very green compared to earlier. It was a lot cooler before calibration, and the software actually shows us some images here, and we can click to see a calibrated versus uncalibrated view to see the difference in colors and everything. This is the calibrated view and this is the uncalibrated view. I don't know how well this will translate on camera and then onto YouTube, but the calibrated version, as I said, is a lot more warm and a lot more green compared to before. The software basically creates a color profile and saves it into your system preferences. So if you don't like the calibrated colors, you can always go back and forth between the uncalibrated and the calibrated version just by clicking one button. I don't know if I like the calibrated version yet. I also can't say for certain that it is more accurate. So to find out just that, I went ahead and printed a couple of photographs that I've taken. The idea is to compare the prints side by side with my monitor, both in the uncalibrated and the calibrated profiles, and see which one looks closer to the prints. I don't know if this is the most scientific thing to do. I don't know if it's the correct way of measuring color, but it's the only way I could think of right now. So what you're seeing on the left of the screen is my monitor. I basically opened the photographs that I'd taken. I opened it in full screen mode on my monitor. I turned off all the lights in the room and I captured this video to show you what it looks like. Although I would say take this with a grain of salt because, I've opened it on the monitor and then taken a video of that, and then YouTube will also compress it. So it's not a very accurate representation, but it's the best that we can do. And then on the right side, what you're seeing is the actual print, which again, I took a video of it to show you side by side comparison. So right now the monitor is in the uncalibrated view, and now this is the calibrated view. Uncalibrated, calibrated, uncalibrated, calibrated. To my eyes, and also I'm pretty sure you guys can also tell even through YouTube compression and all that, it's pretty clear here. The uncalibrated profile actually looks more similar to the print, which is the total opposite of what I was expecting. The second example, this picture is color. Right now the monitor is in the uncalibrated profile. Now switching to calibrated, uncalibrated, calibrated, uncalibrated, calibrated. This time, to my eyes, the calibrated version actually looks closer to the print. I really don't know what to make of it. The results are pretty inconsistent, as you can see. Alright, so it's been about 3 weeks since I first calibrated my monitor. Ever since, I've been going back and forth between the calibrated profile that the Spyder created and the previous uncalibrated profile that I had earlier. I've been going back and forth, seeing what I like, seeing what I don't like. And here's what I've learned. In the first week of using it, I absolutely hated it because I was not used to it. And anytime you put a human being out of their comfort zone, show them anything new, they're not going to like it at first. Second week, I kind of started to like it. I was actually beginning to think, okay, maybe I could get used to it. But then third week, I went back to the original profile and I kind of started to prefer that more. I didn't like the calibrated version. And then now I'm kind of in this position where I kind of again like the calibrated profile. So it's kind of hard for me to give you like a definitive conclusion because it's really subjective and it's really difficult for me to pinpoint and say that the calibrated version looks better than the uncalibrated version. And more importantly, it's even harder to tell you with 100% certainty that the calibrated one is actually more accurate because I don't know. I really don't. Like, what is accurate? What is truly neutral? How do you know? I've been going through so many forums, I've surfed through so many websites, and I still can't figure out what really is accurate, what really is neutral, because there are so many different standards out there, so many different profiles, different companies have their own nomenclature. There's just too much information and there's just too many different standards, and all of it just leads me to believe that just like life, none of this is meaningless. It does not matter. So here are my kind of final thoughts. If you're 80 to 90% happy with your present colors on your monitor, if you've posted a picture online and nobody has ever complained about the colors or about them being off, then I think you're in a good position. You do not have to purchase this calibrator. I don't think that it's sensible, especially if you're a solo creator, to purchase the calibrator. However, if you're like me, if you're just curious, if you're a nerd, if you want to just try it out, I think you should actually rent out the Spyder, because this is literally the ideal piece of equipment in terms of like renting versus purchasing. It's literally one of those few pieces of tech that you would not be using very often. Think about cameras, lenses, lights. That stuff you rent out very often. You need it more than once. But this, I don't really think you need it more than once. Now, Spyder recommends that you calibrate your monitor every month, but I think that's bullshit. Just rent it out once, try it out if you want to. And if you really want to, keep calibrating every now and then, maybe you can do it once every quarter or whatever. It'll still be a lot cheaper than purchasing it. For example, here in Bangalore, you can rent it out for $1,000 a day, which, by the way, is actually a lot for a product that only costs 15K, which, side note, if you have a Spyder lying around, rent it out, business opportunity. Anyway, coming back to the point. If you're a solo creator, I don't think this is worth purchasing. The only situation where I think purchasing this, like actually buying it out, would make little bit of sense would be if you're a media company, if you're constantly bringing in new monitors, or if you're editing between different machines, then maybe this is worth looking into. But if you're just a solo creator, even if you work professionally, unpopular opinion, I don't think you need to calibrate your monitor. Most monitors are good enough, especially if you have like a MacBook display or something. If you're going to be calibrating on that, it's going to be fine. Nobody's going to complain about the colors. So, but yeah, those are my final thoughts on the Data Color Spyder 5 Pro, or just monitor calibrators at large. I know this is a very niche subject to talk about. I don't know how many views this video is going to get, but this is a topic I'm very passionate about. Hopefully this was of value to somebody. If you did indeed find it of value, give this video a thumbs up. If not, vote it down. Let me know in the comments what you didn't like about this video. If you've used the Monitor Calibrator yourself, let me know your thoughts. If you're on the same page as me, or if you think I'm speaking absolute bullshit, let me know. Either way, I like having a good debate. If you're new to the channel, my name is Suraj. On this channel, I make videos that document my journey as a creator. Sometimes that includes gear reviews like this one. Other times it can be knowledge-based videos. Sometimes it's just me sharing my thoughts on certain topics. It's a total mix of stuff. If any of that interests you, consider hitting the subscribe button. Maybe hit the bell icon also while you're at it. If you want to get in touch with me, you can always hit me up on Instagram DMs, or send me a super text on my super page. All links are in the description. That's about it for this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I'll talk to you next one.
Let it slip away, left but then you came. All the same, nothing left the game. Show 'em we don't play. It depends how you celebrate. Kinda say complain with your ways. How you slipping while you still a sentence.